Today, I'm Chris Stewart. Denver 7 News at 5 starts right now.
You might drill into a gas tank, put a 2-liter bottle underneath that tank.
Drained away.
It was like $50 worth of gas just on the floor.
As gas prices hit historic highs, thieves get desperate.
What do you mean there's a hole drilled into the gas tank? And he's like, there's gas leaking out, like just pouring out as if it's a river.
What auto experts say you should keep an eye out for.
Renovated, revamped, and more affordable.
We've got new cabinetry, new flooring, new paint.
A Boulder organization is giving an apartment complex new life to allow more people to move in.
It is a community that has so much need for affordable housing.
And Avs fans, we're getting closer. We finally know the 2 possible dates for Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Finals. And good evening, and thank you for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. We're going to begin with the steep declines on Wall Street as inflation hits a 40-year high.
The Dow fell 880 points and the S&P sank by 2.9%. Also, the May Consumer Price Index rose 8.6% year over year. And that means the typical U.S. household is spending about $460 more every month to purchase the same goods they did last year. The news will likely increase interest rates, which were already expected to go up 0.5% in an announcement next week. Now,
gasoline prices continue their record-setting climb. The national average hovering just below $5 a gallon, $4.98. Colorado's is about 15 cents cheaper than that, $4.83 a gallon. This time last year, the average in our state, $3.20 a gallon. And some people are taking desperate measures to get a few extra gallons.
Gas theft is on the rise in some parts of Colorado, and Denver 7's Patrick Perez is joining us live. Patrick, this recently happened to one woman in Aurora.
It did, and now she cannot drive her brand new car until she gets that tank repaired. It may cost her several $1,000s. And if these prices remain as high as they are now, we may see more of this happen. This dry puddle of gas is a reminder of what a crook did to Stacy Morris's car this week.
People doing things like this, but you can't just take what's not yours.
Stacy says her brand new Chevy Trax had been parked here at her Aurora apartment complex for several days after getting a flat tire. When her husband took it to get repaired Thursday, he quickly learned something else was wrong.
He notices that there's 1 bar of gas and starts to fill up. Then all of a sudden, some man pointed out to him that there's gas leaking out on the floor everywhere.
Video her husband took shows the $50 worth of gas he had just put in draining from the tank. He took it back to the dealership, which confirmed someone had drilled a hole.
They said it's about $4,000 for a new one, and since insurance could cover it, that's still about $2,000 through insurance.
What happened to Stacy is rare, but could happen more often thanks to higher gas prices.
This is one of those things where we see sort of the economic ripple effects of high gas prices. Somebody whose back is against the wall economically commits a crime, they steal gas, they damage your vehicle. Then you have to take your vehicle to the shop, and then suddenly you're paying thousands of dollars for the repair.
Aurora police is aware of at least 18 reports so far this year involving holes being found in gas tanks. Down in Colorado Springs, there have been more reports through April of this year than all of last year. Stacy says others in her complex were also targeted. While she gets times are tough, what this person did for a tiny bit of gas will have a lasting impact.
I just wanted to do something nice and get started on some life goals that I've had on myself. One of them was buying a new car, one of them was getting into a house, but now this is another setback.
AAA says the best way to prevent this from happening to you, and again the keyword here is try to prevent really, is if you do not check on your car every day, make sure you do so. If you park somewhere, make sure that it's well lit, or if you have a garage, make sure to do that. We did ask Denver police to see if they had any numbers available for us, but that data was not available today. And
that was just not nice. All right, Patrick, thank you. In California, by the way, has far surpassed the national average. The average cost for a gallon in California is $6.42. And it's understandable why people flooded to a Sacramento gas station yesterday when gas was only 69 cents. Look at that. Of course, that was a glitch at that particular station, but it wasn't fixed for a full 3 hours after the first lucky driver noticed. That driver paid just $14 to fill up his tank.
Well, starting Sunday, travelers coming into the United States will no longer need to take a COVID test one day before their flight. The White House says it's lifting the requirement because the CDC says it's no longer necessary. The CDC says it will reevaluate the need for testing every 90 days. Well, here in Colorado, COVID cases and hospitalizations are increasing. All counties in the metro now in the red COVID level, risk level. the CDC's highest level. And Denver says it will not implement, though, a citywide mask mandate. The city says hospital capacity is not in jeopardy, but they are encouraging everybody who wants to wear a mask to certainly do so. State health officials also say hospitalizations are still relatively low compared to previous waves.
2 more public hearings are set for next week to reveal the findings from the committee tasked with investigating the January 6th riot at our nation's capital. During yesterday's primetime hearing, the committee argued former President Donald Trump was at the center of a well-organized conspiracy to overturn the 2020 election. We also heard new testimony and saw never-before-seen evidence of that day and the people behind it.
It was carnage. It was chaos. I can't even describe what I saw.
Over multiple months, Donald Trump oversaw and coordinated a sophisticated 7-part plan to overturn the presidential election and prevent the transfer of presidential power.
Now, next week's hearings begin Monday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and more hearings are expected through the end of the month, with a final hearing in September.
Well, tomorrow, tens of thousands of people are expected to march in Washington for the March for Our Lives rally on gun safety. Now, marches are also happening across the U.S., including in Denver. Now, the march is happening outside the Capitol at Civic Center Park here in Denver. That's expected to start at 10 a.m. An entire 9-acre apartment complex in Boulder is being renovated and turned into affordable housing.
Denver 7's Ivan Rodriguez shows why one organization is investing in upgrades and charging residents less to live there.
About 60% of Boulder renters are cost burdened, meaning more than 30% of their income goes toward rent. It's one of the reasons why these 185 units being transformed into affordable housing will help people who work in Boulder also be able to afford to live here. For most of his life, Gary Rain has called Boulder home.
After 50 years, you become attached whether you want to or not.
Over time, his need for affordable housing increased.
It's too expensive everywhere, and it pisses me off, but what are you going to do about it?
In the end, he decided on the Tantra Lake Apartments, a decision he feels lucky to have made.
I think this is going to be just tremendous. I'm excited about it.
Construction is already underway on this 9-acre lot. Soon, Gary's home will also be remodeled.
We've got new cabinetry, new flooring, new paint.
Laura Scheinbaum is the director of real estate development for Boulder Housing Partners. She says through next summer, they'll work one building at a time to modernize the 185 apartments and keep them as affordable housing units for decades to come.
It's a big deal for our organization. It's a big lift. When somebody lives in a place that's beautiful, it gives them a certain pride in what they're doing sort of more holistically with their life.
Jeremy Durham says the need for affordable housing in Boulder remains high.
Boulder has a large percentage of the workforce that is unable to afford rents here. And in fact, that's even more so the case because the market rents in Boulder are so high.
Boulder Housing Partners purchased the property in 2017 and identified it as a great area for affordable homes. They also worried another developer would go a different direction.
This is a site that could have gone the way of so many others where out-of-state investment groups swoop the property up, renovate it, and take the rents to the luxury levels.
Residents like Gary will move in as the units are completed. For him, having affordable housing means everything.
Probably the difference between being homeless and having a home, and that's the distinction for me.
Ivan Rodriguez, Denver 7.
And Boulder Housing Partners tell us people can expect to pay around $1,200 for a 1-bedroom apartment and up to $1,600 for a 3-bedroom. The entire complex is expected to be finished by the summer of 2023.
Art was always a huge part in my life.
Finding a sense of healing through painting.
A woman forced to flee Ukraine now creating art right here in Colorado.
It's not only about art, but also about Ukraine.
We hit the low 90s today, coming up for the weekend, mid to upper 90s.
Plus, a local nonprofit needs your help this weekend.
If you love to help, get your hands a little dirty for the weekend, we need you.
And Picture Perfect.
A 12-year-old entrepreneur from Aurora has created the perfect spot to capture your next Instagram post.
It's a fun selfie museum. It's a vibrant selfie museum. I mean, look at the floors.